I think the effects are evident, particularly in recent times with the hurricanes and other destructive forces that are wreaking havoc through great storms and upheavals. I think everyone can see that. You know, it's in clear view. Of course, it is denied by the establishment and their puppets who control the media, but it doesn't alter the fact that those who are even remotely awake can see through the lies and manipulation and recognize what is occurring. There is much also that is happening in the realms of the unseen, and this ultimately will impact human life on many levels. And we will see, and you are seeing, the destruction of farming, the land grab, the storms that are preventing seeds from germinating or crops from being harvested. You are seeing changes in the water that you consume, in the food or the lack of food that is available to you, changes in temperature. Sometimes it can be very, very, very wet, as you know, and in other places it can be very hot, resulting in fires and upheavals, and also volcanic activity and earthquake activity will become more prevalent as Earth's tectonic plates begin to shift. And all of this is ongoing. Some of it is natural. One can never exclude natural occurrences, but much of it is becoming unnatural because the natural is being invaded and permeated by the unnatural. So much of what you are experiencing, you could say quite justifiably, is unnatural. Now, as to what you do about it, I will always maintain the truth that I have said since I began speaking in this nature, that the recognition of one's true nature and the realization that you are all powerful because you are God and God's being has to be the greatest priority for mankind, because all else will emerge from this. Thinking, decision making, on a personal level and on a greater social and political level. Because where you have an enlightened humanity, then you would expect enlightened choices, enlightened decisions, enlightened activity that are authentic and in accordance and in alignment with that higher principle of enlightened self. All emerges from that. That is the bedrock. That is the basis. And all else emerges from it. Of course, you have to take physical steps. You have to remove or deny those who have grabbed power and think they are untouchable. They have to be at some point addressed. But that must come from enlightened thinking, enlightened knowing, not just from brute force or brute action, because that will only lead to an escalation of conflict. And man, as you know, has been the perpetrator of war and conflict for centuries upon centuries, going back to the earliest days of civilization. That has to stop. It has to come to an end. And it can only do so when man begins to act and think from an enlightened level of being.